Welcome.
Is that the intro?
Yeah, it's close enough.
That's an intro.
That's an intro.
So, Batman vs. Superman?
That's what we're here for.
Dawn of Justice?
Dawn of Justice.
Review?
Spoiler.
Are you going to contribute anything, right? Or are you just going to repeat what I say?
No. I'm pretty much just going to repeat what you say. It depends how the review goes. But
Depends if I say something smart. Or...
Yeah.
We'll do a spoiler-free thing first.
Yeah, I think it's important that the audience knows that the reason we're doing this is because we've essentially turned into a Batman channel on YouTube.
We're basically Batman Superman podcast now. I think we've just decided that, which is going to be tough going forward.
Yeah, we won't have a lot
less material, reference material to use. So.
Yep. So we're just gonna kind of do what we think, how we like it. We won't do too much. There will be no spoiler stuff.
No, we'll do spoilers later on, but
we'll give you guys plenty of warning for the people that haven't seen it.
Yeah. The big thing is I want to do a spoiler-free, just a heads up, because there was so much negativity around the release, right?
Yeah.
Like, everybody, it's crap, it's shit. It's not.
Yeah, it's not.
We want to give you guys, let you know that it's not awful.
Yeah.
Right? It's not.
Well, first of all, did you enjoy the movie?
Did I enjoy the movie? Yes, I enjoyed the movie. It was Batman vs. Superman. It was fine.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a lot worse. I was actually one of the people who was like, oh, God.
Yeah.
It's going to be a nightmare. As soon as that last trailer came out with Batman and Superman, but then there's Wonder Woman, and then there's a fucking Ninja Turtle, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh man, it's going to be a fucking disaster. And I can see how some of those complaints may be valid. Yeah. Some of the concerns and complaints that people had, but it certainly wasn't enough to break the movie. It was a perfectly watchable movie. It was fun and entertaining. If you're a fan of Batman, you're going to like the movie. If you're a fan of Superman, you're going to like the movie. Even if you're a fan of Wonder Woman, you'll enjoy the movie. Like, even if you hate everyone else except Wonder Woman, she had moments and, you'll still enjoy the movie. If you're a fan of Doomsday,
maybe not so much.
you can,
I feel like even like the casual Flash viewer, like somebody that watches the Flash on a weekly basis.
If you enjoy superheroes, you're gonna enjoy the movie.
Maybe not so much Marvel superheroes.
No, I don't see why if you like any superhero, you should like it. I mean, I guess if you're a fanboy, then
if you're a Marvel fanboy, you might not
it is a completely different tone than the Avengers, and I think that's 100%. I think that's why it got negative reviews.
Yeah,
critics, it's a good comic book fan movie. Yeah, it's not a good movie. There was some scenes and some choices that were made that maybe weren't great as far as movie making wise. I feel
like it's a good graphic novel movie, right? As opposed to a comic book movie where the Avengers or Captain America, blah blah blah, all those different ones is a good comic book movie. Where this is more of a graphic novel.
There wasn't much. There was one of the major complaints I saw, and a lot of consistent complaints, was that there was no humor. Yeah. Well, was there any? When is Batman ever fucking funny?
Yeah.
When have you ever laughed?
I remember laughing my ass off to that Joker scene in The Dark. No!
Yeah, when he cut that guy's face off. That was fucking funny.
Yeah, when he bet, like, check out the pencil thing.
Remember in the book when he killed Robin with a crowbar?
Oh, hilarious.
He told a joke.
Non-stop laughing.
Laughs, that guy. I mean, even the Man of Steel movie.
Yeah.
Like I said, this was essentially, it's meant to be a Dawn of Justice starting point, but it is a Man of Steel sequel. If you like that movie, you'll like this one.
I'd say not so much a sequel as it is a continuation of that story, right? Like, it picks up pretty much right where that one left off.
Yeah, like we're moving on from there, and they sort of use it as a jumping point, I guess, for the Justice League. Like, we'll build on what we've started here. So. And
I feel like you said it's warranted. No, like, so the critics, their big thing is this wasn't a fun movie to go watch. Right. It's too dark. And they're essentially comparing it directly to the Marvel movies. Yeah. But my complaint with that is, they're saying, it's a comic book movie. It should be the same as this, right?
Right.
Well, people didn't go into Schindler's List and go, this is nothing like Saving Private Ryan. You know what I mean?
Two totally different movies
based in World War II.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be compared to each other.
I don't even want them to be the same.
No, I hell no. Like, one of the very first reviews I saw was IGN's review, and it says, go in expecting Watchmen and not the Avengers.
Right.
And I went, how is this a bad review? That's exactly what I want.
Right. And
I don't want the Avengers. I've seen the Avengers how many fucking times
I'm
now?
already done with the Avengers, but...
I mean, I'll continue to watch them, but...
Yeah, I'll check them out.
Civil War looks just fine, but I mean...
That's not even the Avengers, though. I'll watch the standalone ones, right? Like, I'm excited for Civil War.
Yeah.
I'll probably check out the new X-Men. I mean, Avengers, I saw the first two were exactly the same movie.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping that don't give me another third Avengers movie starring Batman and Superman.
Yeah.
So I was excited that it wasn't that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. I think another complaint that I was reading is that there's just too many characters to screen and on screen, and everybody needs their time. And watch one episode of Game of Thrones. One episode! And tell me all the characters that were in that one episode and tell me there's too many characters in this, right?
Yeah.
Like, how dumb are we as moviegoers that we can't handle 4 characters on screen?
No, I don't...
4 stories to follow!
I think it was okay, but I think it would have benefited from... Because you can't make it any longer.
No!
Right? That's why it was so long. There was too many people to introduce.
Yeah.
So that was the one complaint, is it wasn't like... They weren't all fleshed out as they should be, right?
Well, and the issue is, like...
I will kind of agree in that it's...
Yeah.
No one point was... They were never able to fully expand on any one point because they already had so much fucking shit crammed into the jar that it can't expand
Well,
anymore.
the thing is...
It wasn't that it was bad.
No.
It wasn't as good as maybe it could have been.
Well, and they didn't have... Oh, excuse me. They didn't have... Marvel had the... the ability to go, here's your Thor movie, here's your Captain, here's another Captain, here's another Thor, here's our... They were able to, do a slow burn.
Yeah.
Not DC. They're like...
I gotta catch up now.
We want to catch up. We're going to give you everything. We're going to start the expanded universe, or the universe, in this one movie.
Yeah.
I feel like they probably could have left out Batman's parents dying again, or Bruce Wayne's parents dying again.
Yeah.
It was good. It was well shot.
Yeah.
Everything, I saw a couple critiques that the special effects didn't look very good.
Right.
I thought they were all fine.
It's fine.
I didn't think there was anything that... I didn't think there was anything that blew me away, and I didn't think there was anything that was really bad.
I had a few problems with some of the scenes, but again, I don't want to... That's getting into spoiler territory, but no, it's perfectly watchable movie. Yeah. It's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I guess if you're looking at it as like some sort of classically trained... fucking cinema, you know what I mean? Like, you're trying to look at it like, the third act is really when, then, okay, there's some flaws. Some of the shots were a little flawed. Some of the characters were a little flawed. But
okay, so I'm going to use this as a reference because why not? It's my podcast and I can do it,
Try and stop us.
Exactly. Yeah. On Rotten Tomatoes. So the cumulative score from all these critics, right?
Which is where the problem stemmed from.
Absolutely. Mockingjay, the whatever the fuck those things are now.
Yeah, Hunger Games.
The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 scored in the high...
First Blood Part 3. Yeah. Fucking, I don't even know what they're on now, yeah.
It scored in the, what was it, the high 60s? I think it was the high 60s.
Yeah.
You cannot look at that as a critic and go, that movie was
this one?
30 or 40 points. Twice as good as this movie that we just watched.
The best one I saw was Sharknado fucking 2 or whatever, had like a 90%.
How?
So, I mean,
you know what I mean? Like,
because the people that went in to watch it were expecting that. And I think that was the one problem, is people went in expecting Batman vs. Superman. If they would have called this movie Dawn of Justice
absolutely,
and not Batman Superman, then people would have went in expecting the 100%. Justice League to begin, which is what it was more about. But they were trying to sell it.
Yeah.
And even the first initial trailers were just the two of them, like, you know what I mean? And then they eventually just flipped it over, and at the very end they were like, not. And so then people were mad. So we went in a little ripped off, or expecting it to be bad and looking for flaws.
Yeah.
And then the critics got a hold of it, and they probably were like, well, technically a movie is supposed to.
Yeah.
And there were some flaws there too, which I was able to overlook because I was wanting to see comic book heroes.
Yeah.
Right.
And to me, the movie played out very much how a comic book reads, how it's got its, its scenes, and you flip the page and it's a totally new scene.
Again, it was almost like there was too much, though. It didn't even play out like a comic book. It played out like a fucking story. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, a whole section of a fucking Superman 2000 to 2014 run. Like that's how it played out.
He incorporated a lot of different things.
They crushed too much in, but like the biggest problem I think was that they tried to do what the Avengers did.
Yeah.
In that they're trying to create this universe. They would have been better off to just make a fucking movie.
Yeah.
That's the reason the Batmans were so good. They were just fucking Batman movies. The reason that Iron Man 1 was good, it was an Iron Man movie. The reason 2 and 3 are bad, and Thor 3 and fucking Iron Man 6...
We'll get...
The reason that those...
I liked Iron Man 3.
Sure. The reason that they aren't as good as the first is because they're trying to fit into something else.
Yeah.
You're restricted by this piece of the puzzle that you have to fill.
Yeah, exactly.
So they made this movie being like, we have to do this.
We have to start the tree and then branch.
So now you're stuck.
And
if you would have just made that movie and made that movie for the sake of making that movie, it would have been so much better.
Yeah.
But considering what it is and everything, and watching a superhero movie, was it the best one I've ever seen? No.
No.
It wasn't the best fucking superhero movie I've ever seen. Was it the worst? No.
Not even close.
Like, it's probably, it's the best movie I've seen in, that I can recall. Recent movies.
I liked it significantly better than the last Captain America movie.
I fell asleep twice watching it. Everybody tells me it's the best movie. I've tried twice. I fell asleep.
It's a good movie, but it's not even close to this one, in my opinion.
No, this was a great movie.
Yeah. I liked it way better than Age of Ultron. But
I liked that movie for different things.
They're two different movies.
I liked it because it was over the top, millions of waves of fucking bad guys and they're blowing them away.
Yeah.
Goofy slapstick, grab ass fun going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not why I'm watching Batman Superman.
Not even close.
People died. That's the central theme of this movie. Everyone's fucking dead. What do we do about this maniac? Right? That's the movie.
There's a lot more death. Zack Snyder is not afraid of killing.
Right, but that's not the Avengers then.
No,
in the
that's
Avengers,
not the Avengers.
You're killing robots.
Yeah.
Or things that
everyone
aren't
is
alive.
Everyone is always on the brink of death, and then they save it at the end.
Yeah.
There was a city in peril.
Yeah, and then this one was just a bit darker. Not like dark and murderous and evil, but it was darker.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's super adult, but a kid probably wouldn't have the attention span to follow the movie.
No, this is more for your
it's for
brooding 17, 16-year-old.
Or us.
That just grab the dark. Yeah, or people that have...
people who grew up with...
Your 30 and 40-year-olds that grew up with this, and, love The Dark Knight. Frank Miller's The Dark Knight.
Unrelated. We were talking about this last night after the movie. Because they've released timelines for all these things, and... they've got a whole timeline you can see for movies for the next 10 years.
Yeah, to 2019 or something like that.
Past, I think it was 20 something.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's stupid. You got way too many movies. This is again kind of unrelated, but I don't think that anyone's going to give a shit at that point. The next generation after us, even us, we're on the tail end of comic books. We were more animated series people as children. Yeah. We grew up on the animated series of comic books.
Yeah.
And we sort of leaked in a bit to comic books. Yeah. And then we got into the comic book because now that we're older, we can have a little more interest in reading.
Well, and we can buy the graphic novel so we don't have to buy each individual issue weekly.
Our children and the children, for those movies, when they come out, I don't think they'll have any interest because they grew up with the movies.
I think...
You're not going to be able to leak out these little, oh, did you see that guy? Remember that from the book? That's not going to work.
No.
So, it's unrelated. I'm just interested to see how
I think what they could end up doing is... harkening back to...
The TV shows, maybe?
Well, TV shows, but more previous movies. Remember...
That's what I'm saying, though. That sucks that they have to... This is going to be what they're building off of now.
The one thing I'm really interested to see, and don't quote me, but I have a feeling that they're going to end up doing... Ben Affleck will end up doing a prequel.
I think they'll do something.
And it'll show what happened to... what do you call it? Robin, and I think that's what they'll do the whole Joker story, and I think that'll end up being a prequel, which I'm fine with.
Well, they also got Suicide Squad. It could be addressed in that too.
Who knows what the timeline is there? But no, I'm teetering on. I loved it, and I really liked it.
I wouldn't say it was, like I said, it's not the best movie I've ever seen. But if you like Superman or you like Batman, or you like just comic books in general, you're going to like this movie.
For me, though, I'm right on that teetering point of I loved it.
I could see why people didn't like it, though. They made some changes to characters, and they made some choices. with it's obviously no spoilers here. I mean, Lex Luthor is Lex Jr.
Lex
I mean,
Jr.
You know, like
and
they
he's
did,
wackadoodle,
but they did
yeah.
things like that, and they
Yeah.
made changes. So I could see how that could upset a core fan base and why people might give it a bad review. Was it the best made movie as far as how you make a movie? No. So I could see how that would upset people.
Yeah.
But if you are just a comic book guy, you like fucking comic books
Yeah.
and superheroes, go see it. It's a fucking cool movie. It's
Well,
fun.
it's the same
It's 2
with-
hours. I mean,
Yeah.
just go sit down for 2 hours and fucking eat some popcorn, watch a fucking movie.
2.5.
2.5. Yeah. It was a bit long, but
It was a bit long, yeah.
It didn't feel long.
Again, like, you probably didn't need to show Bruce Wayne's
There was some,
parents died
like I said, again, though, that's
Yeah.
part of the filmmaking thing. There's a couple things where
Yeah.
that was done poorly or didn't need to
But I
be
think
done.
this is all, when you go to watch a George Lucas film, it's
Right.
got a feel to it. Steven Spielberg, I'm not saying that Zack Snyder is in that pantheon of directors, by no means. No. But
honestly,
Zack Snyder has got a feel to it. When you go to watch Watchmen, it's got a feel to it. When you watch 300, it's got a feel to it.
Yep.
Man of Steel, it's got a feel to it, and that's just the way Zack Snyder does it.
Yep.
Now, if you don't like Zack Snyder movies, you're probably not going to like this movie.
That's just it, though. It's the same as if you don't like Batman, you won't like it. You don't like Superman,
exactly.
you won't like it. You don't like Zack Snyder movies, you're not going to like it. Well, duh.
Like,
What, I gotta fucking tell you that before you go to Batman versus Superman, directed by Zack Snyder? Like, of course,
Whereas
if you
with-
like them, you're gonna like it.
Whereas with the Marvel movies, they can go, well, I don't know anything about Iron Man, but I like watching this because it's funny and he's witty.
Right,
You know
don't
what I mean?
have to- yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing like, oh man, there's so many diehard Captain America fans. No, there isn't.
No one even fucking cares. They like him in that movie.
Exactly.
So, I mean, you can do pretty much whatever with
You
them
know what I
without
mean? Like-
upsetting too many people, whereas Batman and
What's-
Superman are sacred ground, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
Exactly.
like there's there's obviously characters in
It's sacred ground to the point where you have your diehard fans, but then you have everyone...
not
that-
even Superman, it's mostly Batman.
Well, no, Superman too, because you got kids, like, I grew up with Superman pajamas.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so you have kids that are grown up now, they're in their 30s and 40s, they grew up with Superman, they might not have read any of the comics, they watch probably all the movies, and they're pissed off about it. Like, you're, like, I understand some of the criticism.
I was super pissed off about the Joker, the Leto Joker.
You're still pissed off about it.
Yeah, I'm still going to go watch it, and I'm sure he'll do a great
Absolutely.
job. I'm allowed to be upset about the direction they chose for him. The same as this movie. Some people might be upset with the direction they took Batman, Superman, Lex, or Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And that's perfectly fine. Is it enough to break the whole movie?
Not
and
even
give it a
close.
30% Rotten Tomatoes?
Not even close.
No, it's not. I mean, you can be a little like, that's stupid. But I mean, you get over it once they start beating the shit out of each other.
Exactly. So yeah, like I said, I'm pretty much on the side that I love the movie. There's
If I
some
had
stuff,
to give it a percent like they did on Rotten Tomatoes, I would probably give it like a 70, 75.
see, I'm
70 maybe.
higher. I'm probably like.
I give it like a
because that's the thing
75.
about reviews too is it's all opinions, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like you say 75. In my opinion, I would give it like an 85. But I also would only give like.
I would just never give anything 100. That's why I'm always like,
Yeah, that's
you know
I'm-
what I mean?
Yeah.
I like to rate things a little bit harsher. So I mean, we're in the same ballpark though. Like I'd say maybe 75. You'd say like what 80,
85.
85.
Yeah.
So I mean, is it like you said? Is it the best movie I've ever seen? No.
Meet in the middle, 80%.
There you go, right? Like-
Absolute. That is an 80%.
But that's
movie
what the
all day long.
That's what the fan review is somewhere in there.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
the thing is you
70-something
watch
percent.
the fans and like that's like I think too the fans have spoken. The majority of the fans have spoken by spending by this movie grossing worldwide $450 million in the first 3 days.
I think the big thing with that review fiasco was that it is, and it still is. I went out and I've got like obviously we know other people who do the podcasting thing, and I've listened to their stuff, and a couple of them are just it's cool to rip on Batman Superman right now because the critics did it, and they only did it because it was cool to rip on it. So now everybody's like ripping, ooh, what a shit movie. Tell me why it was a shit movie.
Yeah, basically, both of us. He liked it. I would say a lot.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a great movie. I would watch it again. I think we should go see it in IMAX if it comes out in IMAX.
I think that's a great idea.
I would love to go see it. We got these cool ass costumes with like capes and stuff.
I took the cape off
doesn't have
because
a
I
cape.
wear this pretty much daily.
Yeah. So
not out. I wear it at home.
I feel like in order to get our money's worth, we have to go to it again.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it though. I thought it was a great movie.
Yeah.
You enjoyed it? It's a great movie.
Yeah,
Go see it. It's a great movie.
Yeah. Go see it. Go spend the money. These guys.
I've spent $15 on so much worse shit.
Like, let's break it down to like, how did Ben Affleck do as Batman? By the way, fucking awesome.
They all did great as their respective characters, right?
Like, I think, like,
There is no fault to the characters.
Yeah.
The only problems with the movie were minor things with like writing or story or camera work or scenes.
Yeah.
Right? Like they were just so minor that I guess if you're a big film cinema nerd buff, you might be upset by some things. Well, and that's why the critic reviews were worse.
If you didn't like this scene, wait, because there was a bunch more coming up. Like, that's kind of how I felt when I was watching the movie. I was like, oh, I'm not a big fan of this scene. Well, don't worry, because there's like 50 more scenes coming.
But I'm not going to be like, fucking hate this scene, I'm out. 30%, 30%, I'm out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There was 2 people that walked out of the movie when we were watching it. Like, and they walked out right before
walked out?
Something pivotal happened at the end of the movie.
I would follow them like, why did you leave?
What did you expect?
What do you have to do that's so important that you can't spend an extra hour in this theater?
It wasn't even an hour. It was like a half an hour. It was
right.
over.
Like what's happening in your life right now that you can't just tough out a shitty movie?
Yeah.
Even if you hated it, you can't just tough it out.
What did they want?
They walked out for the sake of walking out. Just like people are ripping on it for the sake of ripping on it.
Yeah.
Just like, I walked out of that fucking movie.
That was so stupid.
Why? Can't you just watch it, not like it?
So we're gonna go a little bit. Go watch.
Let's do spoilers.
We loved it. We're gonna get into the spoilers now. If you don't want to hear spoilers, then fucking stop watching, or just press mute and then watch the video all the way through, because we do like it when you guys watch the comment.
Yeah, you could just watch us, our movements of our hands. Like,
we're gonna be all handsy now. This way.